Here at Spoonful of Strength, we want to make this podcast interactive. We want to hear your stories and we want you involved in our conversations. Follow Spoonful of Strength on Instagram, where we will post questions throughout the week. Your answers may be shared on our podcast. Do you have a story to share? Send us a message on Spoonful of Strength on Instagram with your health journey, and we may interview you on this show. Welcome to Spoonful of Strength, a podcast for people with chronic illness and the ones who love them, where we talk all things chronic. Here's your host, Rachel and Tina.
Welcome to Spoonful of Strength. We are happy to have you join us for another episode. How are you doing today, Rachel?
I am doing well. I'm here. I'm happy. There's not much more I can say. So how's your week been?
Too bad. Not doing too bad. Life's been a little busy, but that's just the way it goes sometimes.
We are ecstatic today to be able to interview Mayra. She reached out to me a little bit ago about her journey with trigeminal neuralgia and her fight to get the test needed to diagnose MS, which is ultimately what she was diagnosed with as well. She has a wonderful video that we're going to link to so you all can see her journey into going through medical gaslighting and advocating for herself to get the test that she needs done. So we're real excited to bring her in. So let's go ahead and bring in Mayra. Welcome, Mayra. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on here, Rach and Tina.
Oh, you're so welcome. We were inspired by your story and we're anxious to learn a little bit more. Let's start by having you tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Mayra. I'm 43 years young. I'm happily married for 21 years.
Wow.
We have a wonderful son who is 20 years old. I'm a massage therapist for 22 years. I live in Southern California, and I'm living my best life now.
When you reached out to us regarding wanting to share your story, I have to admit that I have not heard of trigeminal neuralgia. Can you tell me a little bit or tell us a little bit about the early symptoms that you started experiencing and the journey of trying to get that official diagnosis?
Yes. Well, it started with an acute pain in my eye, and honestly, I thought that it was a sty in my eye, or maybe I put my makeup on and my eye makeup, and maybe thought maybe some makeup went inside and it irritated it, but little did I know that it was going to be a long 2 months of excruciating pain, but the way it started was very acute. It could be confusing at first. But after the 2 weeks of having the acute discomfort, it became like electric shocks to my eye, my jaw, my cheek. It was excruciating pain. It feels like, yeah, like if someone had a remote control and was on purpose zapping me with lightning bolts. You're on fire. It's the worst pain ever, and it's not like an ongoing. It doesn't last long. It's like a little jolts, like little electrifying jolts to your face. It's supposed to be only really on one side of your face, but I hear that other, survivors have had where it's the both sides of their face. And so it lasted for 1 month and a half, and the other half, it was on the other side. So everyone listening to this, please don't take it lightly. This disease is horrible. It's something you can't describe. It's something that you don't wish upon anyone. It's a debilitating disease and pain. I've lost about 20 pounds within those 2 months. I couldn't eat, sleep, breathe, think, talk, and it was one of the worst times in my life, to be honest with you.
So, what did the doctor, what test did they run to actually diagnose you with the trigeminal neuralgia?
Well, to be exact, uh, the first thing is that my doctor said, "Well, you probably have migraine headaches," but I I was so quick to correct the doctor and saying it's not migraines. This is not something normal. This is debilitating. And so the doctor felt it was at that point to order an MRI. I went to go get the MRI, and the next day I saw my primary doctor, and he saw the report, and it said I have a 5 millimeter lesion to my brainstem at the medulla oblongata, and it was demyelinating lesion. And so he kind of broke it to me and said, thankfully my husband was there, and he said, yeah, I please don't quote me, see your neurologist, but it looks like you may have multiple sclerosis. And from there, I kind of just I zoned out. I started crying, and I didn't know what it was, to be honest with you, but um, I know I started crying and started thinking the worst. And the doctor, he spoke to my husband, trying to explain what MS was. And, but that wasn't my actual diagnosis. It was just like a pre-warning to what, I may be looking at. And, but my neurologist referred me to an MS specialist, and the MS specialist did not believe my symptoms. I actually told him that I looked up my symptoms of the electrifying shocks to my face, and he said to stop Googling. That only gets me in trouble. That it's not trigeminal neuralgia. That though it shows a lesion in my brainstem, that I only have one lesion, and you need to have two or more lesions, which is the McDonough criteria. And I saw him about 3 times, but by the third time that I saw him, he definitely dismissed me. By that time, my speech has slurred, double vision, trouble walking, and he still dismissed me, unfortunately. But I fired him and went to the next and the
Good
next
girl.
and the next. And until finally I found Dr. Shauna Chang and Loma Linda, and she was amazing with me. She was so compassionate, listened to my symptoms, and she right away said, "Yes, let's do this lumbar puncture," because the first one, he denied the lumbar puncture I requested. But Dr. Shauna and my primary doctor, Dr. Yanis, oh my gosh, between them two, they were like, let's figure out what's going on with Mayra. And so thankfully it's a happy ending with that. um but yes, I'm so grateful for them too. If not, I would still be in the middle of my diagnosis till this day, because I only have one lesion, and that's very unheard of.
And I'm sure that's very frustrating to feel like you're reaching out to somebody that specializes in what you believe you have, and then to be completely discounted by somebody that you were turning to for help. That just had to be completely overwhelming initially, of going through that. So in your video that we were able to watch, it shows in many of the videos that you share, you are very open in showing yourself being very vulnerable in your vulnerable state, and your struggle, the struggles when you're relapsing and things like that. How difficult was that for you to put yourself out like that? Did you have reservations of being so open?
Ladies, when I say yes, yes. Um, being women, we don't always, um, right now you see me with makeup on and all
Mhm.
dolled up for you ladies. But yeah, it's important for me to wear my makeup and feel good about myself and get out into the world. And that time when I was home going through my relapse, yeah, I had no makeup on. I looked my worst, but I knew it was something that I had to record because I needed answers. I wanted to show my neurologist what was happening to me and show him this is not in my head because that's what he claimed that was in my head and I was making it up and that I'm stressed. And I needed proof to show him, like, look at me, look at how I'm speaking. My speech is changing by the minute and I feel drunk and I still feel drunk. That's the symptom that never has gone away is my speech, my vision, my balance walking, feeling drunk. But feeling uh almost naked, I felt because I felt like I was showing my inside, what was happening inside my head, my brain, my symptoms. It was out, and I needed to capture those moments. And it's not like me to do selfie videos or anything like that, but I'm more comfortable doing it now. I know that I have a purpose. I'm an advocator for MS, and I feel like it's my duty to show the goods and the bads moments. So yes,
Yeah.
it was very difficult to show myself uh with no makeup on, but I
Yeah.
felt like it was my duty.
It's amazing. One of the things that you had said in your video was trigeminal neuralgia was labeled the suicide disease. And I think it's very mentally difficult when you're going through a diagnosis. And it's even more difficult when you have people like doctors who are putting things in your head of doubt of, am I just imagining this and all of that, especially those 2 months where you were in constant pain, like mentally. How did you get through that? Because I know we all experience pain most of the day, if not all the day, but I can imagine that the zaps and the electrical pain in your face of all things has got to be just excruciating. So how did you mentally just get through that 2 months almost?
Ladies, I have no idea. Uh, when I go back and I think about it, I feel like a badass because
You are.
I thank
Mhm.
you. And along with other warriors that go through the same thing, because how did I get through it? I feel like my family, my husband, my son, my parents, they saw me my worst moments. I will share with you what my mom shared with me, and she didn't let me know until after when she saw that I was in remission, I felt better. She said that she saw in my eyes an emptiness, almost like lifeless, not willing to fight because I gave up. Like I gave up. I was just like a zombie and just felt like blank, like soulless, to be honest. When I think back, I just feel like I don't want to go back there. I hope I never get that feeling again. I hope I don't experience that pain again. But knowing that we have MS, we don't know what symptoms are going to come our way. We don't know when it's going to happen. We don't know if it's going to happen again. But I just hope that it doesn't come back. And if it does, I feel like at least I know what's coming,
Well, at
and I
least
really
you know you got through it once and you can do it again. Because I have MS as well, and it's frightening to just wake up every morning and not know what's going to hit you. So I feel for you, and you very proud of you for making it through that.
just
And you
so
can do
much.
it. If it comes again, you can do it again.
You're right.
Having a chronic illness, my mood swings by the day, sometimes by the hour. Do you ever wish you could have a candle for every emotion you go through? Well, now you do. Introducing our emotion candles. Feeling anxious? Light our anxiety candle. Feeling tired? Light our pooped out candle. Feeling frisky? Stressed out? Sad? We've got you covered. See all of our designs at Spoonful of Strength on Etsy. That's Spoonful with 2 L's. Use code podcast for 20% off.
And you are probably, now that you have found a team, a medical team that's working with you versus trying to convince you that you're incorrect in what you're thinking, I would imagine would make it a little more mentally feeling like, okay, I can do this another time if I have to, because I have a better support system in place.
Yes, that's very true. I have a great support system at home with my, aside from my family, my friends, my clients. I give them a lot of credit. Their um, their motivation is inspiring. It keeps me going. My son, my husband, I can't say enough about them. They've taken a lot of the responsibilities that I had as a wife and a mom, and I really appreciate that. And our caregivers. My dad's my caregiver now. He's now taking the responsibility. He cooks and cleans, and I can't be around the stove. I'm numb all over my body, so I'm a hazard. I'm a liability to the stove. But I miss it. I miss my independence. I miss taking care of my family.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned your clients. Are you still working, or at what point did you stop working? Where are you at as far as your career?
As far as my career, my last day of work was May 12th, 2023. And as far as I knew, I was gonna go back like that following week, and then that's when I started feeling really sick with my trigeminal neuralgia. I went on medical leave, and unfortunately, I don't have my job anymore there because my boss fired me due to my diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. He said I'm a liability um, to his business. So unfortunately, no, but maybe I'm keeping my hopes up that I will be back, even if it's not something that I'll work full time or long hours. I know that I'm now limited, but it's so my job. It doesn't feel like a job. It feels like I'm doing something fun. I love receiving and giving massages. So it's something that I feel we all need to experience. And I've been a massage therapist for 22 years, and I'm an advocate for that. Like I I'm not giving up. I'm gonna continue to do my therapies, get stronger. And I do know of someone else that has MS. She's a massage therapist and has her own business and working. Um, and if she can do it, I can do it. She's my inspiration when it comes to that. So um, right now, I'm taking my time, taking a break, but I will be back for my clients. My clients are waiting for me. They've been so awesome to me, keeping in touch with me, sending me really nice care packages in the mail. So I really owe them a lot because they really keep me going and giving me hope that I'm gonna be their massage therapist again.
Many people struggle with feeling like they're in a body that they just don't recognize, or missing the person that they used to be. So in one of your videos, you shared a moment in Ulta when you couldn't find your wallet and you started feeling overwhelmed, saying that your brain was just overwhelmed and simple tasks were just becoming so difficult. How do you deal with those moments when those type of situations happen?
Ladies, this is something that it's a symptom that we don't always talk about, the cognitive issues. And I feel that that's a symptom that no one sees that we're struggling with because they see us and we look perfectly normal and able to do our task. And in some ways, yes, we are able. However, we have a lot of cognitive issues, and I'm speaking for myself, that there's a correlation between MS or dementia because I'm very forgetful. I walk into a room and then I forget why I walked in. What was I gonna get? I'm in the middle of a sentence and then I say, "What was I saying?" I forget certain tasks that I need to do. Um, and so the day of Ulta, which I will show in my video, um, that was so humbling because, like I mentioned earlier, being a woman and feeling able, especially with other women in your presence. By the way, I just have to give a shout out to Ulta Rialto because all the ladies were super nice to me, super understanding. I was there to get makeup, and the lady that was there helped me, and she, I made the line, and I go up and pay. Well, turns out I didn't bring my debit card. I thought I did. I thought I put in one part of the area of my purse. I saw it with my own eyes. I said, "This is my debit card. It's right here. I'm gonna take it with me." And when I get in to pay, I couldn't find it, and I got like very antsy. And aside from all the symptoms that I have, so imagine you're going by your day and you see blurry double vision, everything's spinning, you feel drunk, my speech is impaired. I'm with my rollator walker. I'm embarrassed. I people are waiting for me to pay. I can't gather my thoughts. I can't gather what I want to do as to put my hands in my purse and take out my wallet. Like I couldn't do those things. And those are episodes. I call them episodes because it's not a 24/7 for me, but when I'm in the middle of a little tiny relapse, it's debilitating. I'm embarrassed. I feel like everyone knows that I'm having trouble. I started crying. All the ladies were super nice to me and they were helping me out, and I called my husband to the store and he helped me. And that's when you see the video. And I told my husband, take the camera out. This is an episode that we have to show. I have to be vulnerable. And I know I'm not the only one going through this. And if I can help someone, let them feel like, hey, you're not the only one that goes through these moments. And that multiple sclerosis, it's not to be taken lightly. These are cognitive issues that we go through. And also I'm advocating for people to be kind because someone could, and the line could have been, lady, hurry up, holding up the line. But
Yeah.
I want to raise awareness. Like, we don't know exactly what people go through on the inside in their health, and just to be kinder. Because if you could be that person that says, lady, it's okay, take your time, or let me help
Yeah.
you, that means the world. And that's why I applaud you ladies for raising awareness doing your podcast, because we get to tell our stories,
Yeah.
and it means the world.
Our episode previous to your episode is about cognitive issues. So we do discuss that because it is such a humbling experience when you go through that. And I'm sure you and your husband will get there, but I've been living with MS since 2015. It gets to the point now where if I can't find my word, I just look at my husband and he tells me what the word is. So you'll get there. Um, but it's so challenging because you can see the word, it's right there, and you just can't put it together. And then it frustrates you. And so then you get more anxious and it just kind of builds up and builds up. So have you done any neuropsych testing?
Not exactly. Well, I've done occupational therapy
Okay.
and physical therapy, speech therapy, and I'm doing a lot better. My speech is a lot better, but there's certain words I can't enunciate that good. Right
Yeah.
now it's early morning and I sound fantastic. But if you and I talk around 6, 7 in the evening, my speech is slurred, my voice box is higher pitch.
Yeah.
So I'm doing my therapies. I see my psychologist, Dr. Swan. Shout out to her. She's also amazing. I have to say that there's something about women empowerment, women
Mhm.
doctors. We listen to each other, we're compassionate to one another. And I just want to give a shout out to women supporting women, and you both included.
It's definitely important for all of us to support each other, and like the it doesn't matter if it's the same illness or different, we all still have very similar struggles. So having that support system is just kind of helps you get through those tougher days for sure.
A couple years ago, my husband wanted to give me an MS t-shirt for my birthday. All he could find, though, were brightly colored t-shirts with big graphics, like a smiley face given 2 middle fingers, and words like F U M S. Isn't there an option for a simple, stylish t-shirt that spreads awareness with kindness? That's when I created Spoonful of Strength, shirts that are inspirational, motivational, and stylish. You can find us on Etsy, Instagram, and Facebook at Spoonful of Strength. That's Spoonful with 2 L's. Enter code podcast for 20% off anything in the shop. You were officially diagnosed last year and you started Ocrevus, which is one of the better treatments for MS. You started that end of the year. So how are you doing right now? Has that helped?
Tremendously. I feel fabulous. Aside from my symptoms that are here to stay, which is everything that I named, and aside from my fatigue, but I feel fantastic, ladies. I do. Um I hope I'm not speaking too soon. I don't know if it has something to do with only having one lesion. But I do feel fantastic. I'm optimistic about my life. I'm living my best life. Um, Ocrevus is definitely working for me. I know everyone has their own journey to go through with different medications, but that was my first medication, and I'm sticking to that one. I really like it. I have no issues with that whatsoever. And so yes, I actually enjoy my infusion trips because it gives me time to just unwind, relax, and kind of just
Yeah.
take a little nap.
Yeah. Ocrevus is, I tried Ocrevus. Unfortunately, I had a reaction to it and wasn't able to continue on it, but it is one of the better ones. And I want to say something real quick about, you've mentioned, that you only have one lesion. And the crazy thing with MS is that you can have somebody with one lesion that has 20 symptoms, and you can have somebody with 10 lesions who's exercising every day and working full time and all of that. And that's just the craziness of the disease. So just because you only have one lesion, that doesn't discount the fact that this disease is what it is. And every person's affected differently. So I'm sure there's other people out there who only have one lesion.
I do want to mention something. I'm glad
Yes.
I'm glad that you mentioned the one lesion part because that was a whole struggle. I could not get my diagnosis before I found Dr. Shauna when I saw the MS specialist who dismissed me. He said because I only have one lesion that he couldn't diagnose me that I don't have MS. And I felt like, what are we waiting for? And maybe they should change the criteria because you can't have one lesion. I'm proof. You can have one lesion, all these symptoms, one relapse, one lumbar puncture, and to be able to diagnose. And I feel that if I would have stuck with him with the one lesion and if I would have taken his word for it, I could have gone worse. I could have with no DMT. I was at my worst time you saw in the video. And yeah, who knows where I would be at right now. But we caught it in time because of Dr. Shauna, Dr. Yanis ordered my lumbar puncture. And because of that, I got my treatment sooner. And I'm really happy about the outcome. But I do want to raise awareness to there's a lot of wonderful doctors. I love doctors. But sometimes there are bad apples out there, and we just have to highlight that for a second and, you know, raise awareness and to be kinder, to listen to your patients. Don't dismiss them and take their word for it because this is our bodies. We know what we feel. We know how we feel. We're not exaggerating. And a lot of people talk down on Googling. I encourage Googling. Google your symptoms. Do your research. It's okay to be aware and get in touch with other people that have MS that are going through the same thing and you'll relate a lot to those people because you're like, that's me, that's my story. So and I found a lot of that on social media, a lot of people that have that are like me that have MS, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. There's a big TikTok MS community and we all talk about our symptoms and our struggles and we have a support group. And there's one that I encourage for you guys. Well, there's many that I encourage you guys to listen to, but Tasha Illness Life Coach. And that's when I searched MS symptoms. She's one of the main ones that popped up along with a, a, a whole list of people in that group. But I feel that do your research, everybody. Don't take no for an answer. Be your best advocate.
Absolutely. And she just summed up what my question was going to be. So I don't have to ask that. I was going to ask for advice on those that feel like the doctors aren't, just aren't listening. And the importance is, you have to advocate for yourself. Do you feel that sometimes doctors just get almost put blinders on? They get so wrapped up in not looking at a bigger picture, or they're too wrapped up in the the clinical, this is how it's always diagnosed, and there's no gray area for them to, it's black and white. Do you feel like sounds like that might have been what was going on with the initial doctor?
Oh, definitely. With the doctor that dismissed me, he seemed very robotic, very clinical, very cold, no bedside manners. To insinuate, well, he said, because you are Googling, you are mimicking the symptoms. I said, how can I mimic my voice, my speech slur, my double vision, my unbalanced walking? But he had no answer back. He just said, you're stressed and you're making this up and it's in your head. Sometimes people do that. And I said, wow, like the gaslighting, like, honestly, ladies, I went home that evening, and he got into my head. I went home, I laid down, I cried because I thought to myself, wow, what explanation am I going to tell my loved ones? That I'm insane? you know,
Right.
and I'm not. A lot of those who know me know that I'm not insane. I'm not and I don't exaggerate. I I walk you through with my experience. That's what I do. I walk you through, and yeah, I would like to raise awareness on those type of doctors. Please listen to your patients. Be kind, and it's one thing to be intelligent in textbook. And I give them a lot of credit. There's a lot of great doctors out there, but it takes special doctors that have that and compassion, which is my Dr. Shauna.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
You're going to end up getting her a lot more patience by
I
talking
know.
so good about her.
You guys are in
Um,
Southern California. Loma Linda, Dr. Shauna Chang, Rancho
mhm.
Cucamonga, Dr. Yanes, primary
Yep.
doctor. Um, those doctors are amazing. And because of them, they make my visits so much fun. So I have the time of my life when I go to the doctors and my checkups and my follow-ups. And, I recently saw my neuro, my Dr. Shauna. And yeah, I have dysphagia,
Dysphagia. Yeah.
and I have trouble swallowing, and now I'm gonna go on a temporary diet of kind of like baby foods, blending my foods a little bit to help with that. But they listen to me.
Yeah.
It's amazing that when you gather our women minds together, we come up with solutions.
Yep. Yep. That's right. Well, I am so happy that you came on today. You seem like just a bubbly personality, so much fun to be with. I wish we were closer to California, but can you tell people where to find you if they want to follow your story?
I will send you my link tree. But for now, my name is Mayra Wicochea. You can find me there on Facebook. There's Instagram, ms.tink.a.ability, so Miss Tinkability. I am coming out with my book, next year. And in the following, there's a second book that I'm working on as well, and some merchandise as well. Some of my own little fun phrases for MS and being disabled. Also, in the line of makeup in the beauty industry, also. And I'm also, you both inspired me to do my own podcast. And when I mean podcast, I'm thinking, I don't know if I want to go solo or interview, but also massage therapy. There's a lot of discussions in massage and coloration with MS, and that's my goal to work on um, medical massage therapy, chronic illness. So there's a lot of projects in the mix. MS has debilitated me, yes, has taken a lot of my abilities, but that doesn't mean I'm not able to keep going and thriving. So I encourage all of you to just do the same if you can. Everyone has their own journey. This is where I'm at right now, and it wasn't easy getting here, but I'm here and living my best life, and I love you all.
Oh, that's a great way to end the show. We are going to link anything that you've got going on. And then in the future, when your book is released, send me the link. We're going to continue to share your journey and your progress and all of that. So we're so excited that you took out time to come and meet with us. And we just really, really appreciate it.
Yes.
So we thank you. Well, Tina, what did you think about Mayra? Wasn't that just an amazing story?
It was incredible. She was very inspiring, and definitely her story highlights the importance of being your own advocate and just
Mm-hmm.
not taking, if you know something's wrong, but you're not getting the answers that you need, it's okay to find someone else.
That's what I love about doing these interviews is, people may say, oh, well, she's talking about MS. I don't have MS. And so, but the story is always something bigger, and it's always something that we can all relate to. And one of the things that, we go into these interviews and we have our notes as far as what they're diagnosed with, and we try and learn a little bit about the disease and everything like that. But it always comes out in a bigger picture. And I feel like her story is about women supporting women, being your own advocate, having a good support system, and just living your best life. And the fact that she went through, almost 2 months of the trigeminal neuralgia and advocating and fighting to get the test that she needed for MS, is just inspiring in itself. But she really has a lot of things that are coming up that she's going to be using just to inspire people to be their own advocate and to just fight for your body. And so I can't say enough about how much she is just awesome. That's all I can say.
And not only that, but she also highlights the fact that it's not a black and white. Just because you don't fit the normal criteria for a diagnosis doesn't mean that it's an invalid diagnosis.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A lot of times with MS, the doctors won't diagnose unless you've had more than 2 relapses. And that's what happened to me, is that they were waiting for basically the disease to keep acting up. And it's like, to ask for somebody to wait years, just to see a pattern, is really frustrating. And so I'm very happy that she was able to get a diagnosis, even though I'm sure it didn't seem like it to her, but fairly quickly within, 6 months. So she is on the way to feeling better.
Our next episode coming up, we'll talk about debunking a lot of the misconceptions and myths of living with a chronic illness.
That'll be next Tuesday. So you all have a good weekend, and we'll look forward to talking with you then. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.